The following program may contain strong language and mature content. Viewer discretion is advised.
Hey, I'm Donta.
And hey, I'm Dana.
And welcome to the Donta Show.
What's up, Village? It's your boy Kwame, the man with the plan behind the stands. I'm going to go ahead and make this quick because some of y'all got mouths and be talking mess in the comments and saying that the intro commercial is too long. So, I got something for you. Here we go. Let's get into it. Before we bring out these awesome kings, I need you to stop what you're doing. Excuse me? Excuse me? Ma'am? Sir? You? Yeah, you! Whether you're watching on Facebook, Twitter, or YouTube, I need you to go ahead and share this live stream. Donta and Dana didn't get all dressed up for you not to share their melanated goodness. So share. You share everything else up in here. Share some quality content for your boys. Now that we mentioned YouTube, are you subscribed to the Donta Show's YouTube? Oh, you're not? Oh, girl. I'm going to need y'all to get it together. Join the village. Go over to www.youtube.com/Donta Morrison. And when you get a chance, head over to Dr. Morrison's. That's right, your boy got his PhD. Head over to Dr. Donta Morrison's website, www.dontamorrison.com, where you can learn more about the man, the myth, the legend known as Donta. And while you're at it, grab some TDS merch and his books. Yes, purchase those smutty books filled with smut. Grab The End of the Rainbow and Yesterday Clarified. And last but not least, head over to the company that put this all together, Pyro Media Network. Pyro Media Network is a proactive network focused on providing an innovative space for content creators and entrepreneurs. PMN is dedicated to giving its viewers a diverse entertainment experience while helping content creators elevate their production, engagement, and overall branding. To date, PMN has reached over 1 million viewers and listeners internationally, produced over 52 successful shows with high ratings and fanfare, and has housed over 60 content creators, brands, and businesses through entertainment and consulting services exclusive to PMN. Pyro Media Network is a network that makes you feel at home. So if you have an idea for a show, podcast, or need some professional video and audio production for your business or brand, then join the Pyro family today. Go ahead and visit www.pyromedianetwork.com and we will show you how to go to the next level. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, please help me welcome my brothers from another mother, the dynamic duo, the melanated kings themselves, Donta and Dana. Let's get it. Let's go!
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the Donta Show. You all know who I am. If you are a regular watcher, you do at least. If not, I am Donta Morrison, the host of the Donta Show. And normally on Tuesday nights, I go solo bolo because Dana is in class. He does all kind of stuff outside the Donta Show. And Tuesday nights is his school night, education night, class night, whatever you want to call it. But normally on Tuesday is going to be me and a special guest that I'm interviewing and just chopping it up with. And tonight is no different. I'm excited about tonight's show. I'm looking forward to the conversation because you all know I love good controversial dialogue. And tonight is no different. So for those of you who are, let's just say, Christians, this is going to be a conversation that's going to really tap you on the shoulder and make you be like, ooh, is this too much or is this not enough? Y'all want to dive in? Y'all want to go ham? Y'all want to talk about it? Let's do it. All of you know that I just completed my doctorate. I can't say that enough, but my dissertation really unpacked the Black church's response to the LGBTQ community. And it really talked about human sexuality, sexual identity, sexual behaviors, all that kind of stuff, and talked about the influence of the Black church and the impact of homophobia, basically faith-based spiritual exclusion, and what it does to the lives of those who are LGBTQ. All right. And it talks about the trauma, the psychological effects, what it does to them spiritually, emotionally, mentally. That's all in my. However, could not have done that alone. I researched and I pulled articles and I read books and I did all kind of stuff to validate what my dissertation was talking about, to really give some weight to it. Tonight's guest is Ben Carlton, and he wrote a book. I'm Black, I'm a minister, and I'm gay. I'm Black, I'm a minister, and I am gay. All right. Now, some of y'all probably already ready to log say, oh, here's another conversation about that. I'm not doing it. Nope, not me. But some of y'all are sitting up like this and like, oh, we finna go there with it. Yes. What's up, Frat? What's up, Ahmad? Yes, we're gonna go there with it because it is fine time to really have conversations about humanity, about people, about their experiences, and about what happens when people are made to feel marginalized. We put folks in a box just because of something we don't understand. And when it comes to human sexuality, there's a lot of myths and misconceptions about it that are rooted in beliefs and understandings that really cannot validate why they feel that way. All right. Now, I know y'all are, again, some of y'all are like, oh, no, this is not the show for me. And that is fine. But for those that want to rock with us on tonight, I challenge you right now to rock with us. Get your tablet, get your ink pen, and take notes because we finna get into it. However, I need you to do me a favor. Tag all your friends, your family, your cousins, your loved ones, and say, yo, y'all got to get up in here on tonight because the Donta Show is about to be lit. It's about to be litty, litty. All right. Also, if you have not subscribed to the Donta Show on YouTube, please do so. Go to youtube.com/Donta Morrison and click that subscribe link. It is absolutely free. It will cost you nothing to do so. Nothing. So I challenge you right after this show is over, go to my YouTube page and check all the past shows that we have done. Dana and I started the Donta Show in 2017. Dana jumped on board in 2018, early 19. We've been rocking ever since. We do shows Monday and Tuesday. And for those of you that want to get a show like the Donta Show, hey, you can do it. Just reach out to Pyro Media Network and say, yo, I want to have a show on YouTube. I want to have a show on Facebook Live. I want to have all the bells and whistles that I see on all the Pyro Media shows because there's a lot of bells and whistles that you may not see on tonight because we're having a very serious conversation. However, Kwame is always a stickler for throwing something in that's going to make us laugh and chuckle and do a little aha. But if you want to have a show like that, you can always do so. But I'm warning you right now, it is not easy hosting a show. It is not easy. You must have the gift of gab. You must know what you're talking about, and you must have something that's going to keep the folks coming back. All right. And that is a gift that I thank God for. So if y'all ready to get into tonight's conversation, let me see some comments in the comments. Yeah, where is Kyrie? I need Kyrie up in here. I need Kyrie. I see Thais up in here. I see the village chiming up in. What's up, village? I see my green hearts coming through. I see that. I see y'all. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. Real talk. Thank you. Oh, you know what? I gotta get, Thais always keeps me abreast of what is going on because it's much scandalous stuff that happens that I miss out on. But Thais will post it and keep us in the loop. Now I don't know who old boy is since we're talking about the church and all this kind of stuff. I don't know who Brian Karn is, but apparently Brian Karn has done something kind of seedy out there in the streets, and he did it with someone who's not his wife, but is the wife of someone else. I don't know the whole story, but if you want to know the whole story, go to Thais's page. Go to Thais because Thais be dropping them gems, dropping them nuggets. And when I tell you, I'm like, yo, I'm missing out on some good stuff. I can always watch Thais and just stay in the loop. All right. So if I'm coming in and out, I do apologize. I don't know what's going on. My Wi-Fi, I live in the hood, and my Wi-Fi, I'm getting it from my neighbor's house. Just kidding. But my Wi-Fi is always tripping. But let's just touch and agree that tonight it's gonna pick up and it's gonna make it do what it do. Okay. All right. So let's make it happen. It's that Boost Mobile. It's that Obama internet. And when Obama left, he took the good quality internet with him. So now I got this Biden net and this Kamala net. And since they ain't doing nothing, neither is my internet. All right. Brian Karn is Daddy Rich 2022. If y'all know who Brian Karn is, go to his website, and apparently he is this big pastor, minister, theologian, whatever the case may be. But he is out there, but he is getting greasy. So yeah, we're not going to talk about that. We're not going to be messy and gossipy. We're going to dive deep. Tonight's guest, Benjamin Carlton, author of I'm Black, I'm a Minister, and I'm Gay. I'm going to go ahead and read his bio. Hold on 1 second. Let me scroll up. And if y'all can see the font that I have to put it in, you will chuckle because 5 minutes before we went live, my glasses broke. I can't see you. I can't see myself. I can't see today. I can't see tomorrow. So first thing in the morning, I got to get my glasses because I can't see nothing. All right. Benjamin Carlton is an author, activist, actor, and minister of love. He studied communications and business and received his master's of business administration from the historic Florida Agricultural and Mechanical University, FAMU, before moving to Miami to pursue his career in accounting. While in Miami, he co-founded the iconic Be Me community, a national movement of community builders that are led and inspired by Black men. Be Me community was founded on the principles of valuing all members of the human family. I love that, human family. Recognizing Black males as assets and building more caring and prosperous communities together. In 2016, Benjamin decided to practice what he preached and came out as a gay minister in TheRoot.com that generated national discussion. The TEDx speaker took his message of authenticity on the road and encourages his audiences to live their best authentic lives every day. Benjamin has more than 10 years of experience in social innovation, public relations, equity, and inclusion, and as an executive director, he advocates for a better America and fights for the rights and fair treatment of the Black and LGBTQ communities. Lastly, as an activist, founder, and social entrepreneur, Benjamin has been featured in a myriad of publications and platforms, including ABC, CBS, NBC, TBN, BBC London, Vogue magazine, Vogue, what? The Miami Herald, and the Huffington Post. His life-changing impact has touched millions of lives, and his pioneering work in community building earned him a Miami Fellowship Foundation and AT&T Emerging Leaders Fellowship recognition for the National LGBTQ Task Force. Village, help me welcome to the Donta Show for the very first time, my friend, my brother, Benjamin Carlton. Something's supposed to happen. Love it, love it, love it. Thank God for that little snippet because Eddie ran in here and gave me his glasses. So Ben, I can now see. How you doing, man?
I am well. How are you? I was laughing at the introduction. I'm like, come on, get to the end, get to the end. But I am well. Happy New Year to you, brother.
Same to you, man. Same to you. 2022 is here and it can't be no worse than the last 2 years. So all I'm speaking is ascension for everybody. We all finna level up right now and go to the next dimension.
Well, I hope so. I really thought that we were getting over this curve, but it looks like it's getting worse. So I had to mentally adjust to this new reality of not traveling, being stuck in the house again, and keeping away from people. So, let us hope. But I'm hopeless at the moment.
Right, right. Now, Ben, can you hear me okay, or am I delayed?
I can hear you.
Oh, okay. All right. Awesome. So let's get into it. I mean, I read your bio, but if there's anything that I left out or omitted that you want to add, and so that people can know more about you, feel free right now to just let them know what's up with Benjamin Carlton.
The only thing which I literally just yesterday updated my bio when someone asked for it. I am on the Stand for Love tour, elevating the Black queer experience. It is a global tour designed to uplift the stories of Black queer people and to decrease, homophobia within all communities, but to create experiences where people get to experience the fullness of other. Right? Many people base their judgments, their decisions, their discriminations on a piece of someone's story or what they've been told, but never do people generally base it on the whole story. So I'm trying to give people the fuller picture of what it is to be Black gay in America and around the world.
I love it. Now you said a word that honestly is kind of that we don't talk about often, we don't hear often in the Black community, which is queer. So some people is like, well, what does queer mean? Because I know gay, I know lesbian, what is queer? How would you define queer?
Well, anything that is outside of the norm of hetero sexuality and cisgendered. So that means that if you're born a woman, you identify as a woman, your pronouns are she, her, hers, and you are attracted to and are in relationship with the opposite sex. And if you're a man, same thing. If you were born a man and you want to be identified as a man, you are he, him, his, and you are sexually attracted to the opposite sex of a woman. And so anything I believe that is outside of that, no matter what it is, whether it is in who you love, how you dress, how you show up in the world, how you like to be identified, is queer. And I know years ago, because I do equity trainings, and it's generally with older folks, I would use the word queer. And they're like, is it okay to say queer? Because I remember we can say that. And when I was younger, I got teased. I was called queer. But now it is the term that generally defines the overall anything that's outside the normal heterosexual cisgendered kind of space.
And especially now, have you got a lot of I'm sure you've gotten more questions because the binary is starting to come more into the conversations, and gender non-binary, gender fluid, they, them, their, and how folks use just different, terminologies to identify themselves. So in your teaching about inclusion and diversity, does that come up more now than ever?
Yes. And now when it comes up in curiosity. Before, when it came up, it was, we're not changing. I'm not calling a she a he. I'm not calling a he a she. I'm not calling them they. Now it's why. What is the reason? Give us understanding. So the curiosity is peaking in communities all over. So I appreciate those questions that come in now.
I love that. Now, do you do your work specifically I know it's not specific, but is your work more focused on the Black community?
Yes. But the principles of the work that we do can be shared with almost any community. When I co-founded Be Me Community along with Travian Shorters and Sarah Multidor, asset framing was the core of the work that we did, in which we basically helped folks and train organizations on how to better serve the people that they work with and not identify them based on their deficits and their problems and struggles, but identify them based on their aspirations, inspirations, and hopes. And we started with Black men as a catalyst because in media, Black men and Black women, but namely Black men, got the most bad rap. And then the only good stories told in mainstream is that we were good at sports and basketball. And many people are like, no, that's
Right.
not all I know about Black people. Yes, because you're in your Black world. But outside of the Black world, Black men were generally known for being good in bed. You know why? Playing sports and, being in entertainment. And so we wanted to not necessarily change the narrative, because that's where people get messed up. We wanted to tell the fuller story of what it meant to be a Black man in America, because Black men were doing everything that everybody else was doing and greater, as you know. But people weren't telling that story. Black men serve in the United States military at higher rates than any other racial group. Black men take care of their children more than any other racial group, whether that Black man is in the home or outside of the home. Black homes give of their wealth to charity at higher rates than any other racial group. Black women start businesses at 2 times the national average. So we are fatherly, we are patriotic, we are giving, we are entrepreneurial. But when you think about Blackness in America, those are not the first things that come to mind in mainstream. And so that's what we work to shift and change, and have done a good job in the last 8 years. But again, the principles of valuing people based on who they are, who they want to be identified as, and what their aspirations and inspirations and hopes are, that can go for anyone.
I love how you broke that down, because we don't hear that enough, and I love how you framed it. And I mean, it's really, and you base it in facts. It's like you have the data to back that up. And I think it's so important that we get those kind of statistics out there and make it common conversation, because it will just break down a lot of stereotypes and stigmas that really perpetuate a lot of the behaviors that we have to kind of combat, to prove that, we are more than what you just said, or the stereotype you just explained. Now let's dive into the meat of this conversation, the Black church.
My God.
Let's go there. So if we got any saints, watching, if we got folks that grew up in the Black church, go ahead and put in the comment section, I'm a church kid, I know the Black church, I'm part of the Black church. Or even if the Black church has traumatized you, put, the Black church kind of did me low, did me dirty, ran me ragged, whatever the case may be. But Ben, your book is an honest and transparent expose, not only about your life and your experiences, but about the Black church and the systems in which it's founded upon. And I think it's so important how you navigated it. And it wasn't a wowsy woo-woo story. It was like, there are systems in place that substantiate behaviors that marginalize individuals, that negatively impact their psyche. And I think that was key how you did that. So, if you do not have this book, Benjamin Carlton, I'm Black, I'm a minister, and I'm gay. He's going to tell you how to get this before the show is over. I guarantee you. Trust me. But you want to read this book. You want to dive into it. So before I ask my questions about it, I want to ask you, what gave you the unction to say, my story is worth sharing. I'm going to put pen to paper and combat this system?
Well, as we talked about in the opening, identifying the fullness of the story. The only thing I knew about being gay was that it was perverts, pedophiles, and freaks at parades. That's the only thing I knew from growing up, in my Black community and being in church. That's the only thing anybody ever talked about. And so that's all I knew. And it wasn't until I began to get exposed into the fullness of what it really means to be queer Black in America that my heart shall begin to break. And so the reason why I felt the need to tell the story in such a big, bold way is because, unfortunately, I spent years as a minister condemning the LGBTQ community, making fun of the LGBTQ community, and not because I found valid reasons to. It was a couple of reasons. As we talk about traumas and dealing with that, I was very feminine as a kid. And so I was teased a lot. And I said, you know what? I'm tired of getting teased. And whoever created the medicine Ben Gay, I hate you. I hate your guts. I hate you from the pits of this world, because I could not catch a break. Okay. And so, I was teased, and I was trying to figure out, how do I stop being teased? So I became very proper and astute. And, I was teased for being a geek and a nerd, but I would rather be a geek and a nerd than be teased for being gay. And so, as we all know, hurt people, bullies become bullies. And so I then in turn, adopted the narrative and adopted the behaviors of condemning the LGBT community in such a strong way from not only a religious perspective, but a Black perspective. We talk about making spaces welcome and open, inclusive, but there's no way. And we talk about, not liking the down low culture and we wish people would just be themselves. But the way we make fun of the jokes that we say, the derogatory comments we say about people who are gay, queer, and, a part of the LGBT community, why would someone feel safe to come out in that space? And so as I got older, I started facing my truth. I couldn't hide anymore. A number of factors led me to exploring what it means to be gay, because I've been serving in church since I was 12. And I met with my pastor when I graduated college. I said, listen, I have served in church. I have washed toilets. I have been at the senior citizen home. I have served youth. I've laid hands on the sick and they've recovered. And I've prayed to God since I've been a kid for him to take this homosexuality from me. And he hasn't. So I'm not doing no more ministry. I'm not doing nothing else until God answers me about me. Mm-hmm. My pastor said, Ben, you go ahead and you ask God anything you want. Just don't leave God. Go ahead and talk to God. You step down. And so I resigned from all the positions I had. I sat on boards at ministries, etc. And God didn't audibly speak to me, but God began to show me through experience what it means to be an affirming, contributing member to society, Black, queer, homosexual man in America. I started working in corporate America with JP Morgan and Pricewaterhouse at different times. And they have affinity groups where, I don't know why I did the air quotes, but they have affinity groups where, if a women's group, a men's group, Black people group, Hispanic group, and they had gay groups. And I would visit the gay groups and see VPs and presidents who were gay and had families. I'd never met gay families before.
Were they Black?
And then it was a mix. Being in Miami, it was a lot of Hispanic leadership, Cuban leadership. And then I co-founded Be Me Community, and we traveled the country literally honoring Black men for the work that they were doing in communities. And I was honoring Black gay leaders who were religious leaders and political leaders and community leaders. And I began to see myself in their story. I said, now, wait a minute. This is not as bad as everybody said it was. These people aren't freaks. Well, these people aren't, pedophiles and right. All the horrible things that they've said about being gay. And once I began to accept this fuller narrative, that's when God spoke to me. And I was laying in bed and I was in a walking depression, so depressed, my skin was changing colors. I didn't even realize it. And the Spirit said, just as clearly as you can hear me and I can hear you, get up and be who I called you to be. Whoever is going to love you will love you. And whoever doesn't, they just won't. And so I went to work, told my colleagues, told my family, long story short, we were doing a campaign called Black Men Love, hashtag Black Men Love, because if you looked at what it meant to be Black and love in America, a lot of porn came up when you looked at the hashtag Black Men Love. And so we were like, now, wait a minute, we need to change that. So we got all of these Black leaders from around the country to write about things they loved and hashtag Black Men Love. We did an outreach campaign, hashtag Black Men Love. And they were like, Ben, why don't you tell your story? Said, who, me? Mm-mm. But then I thought, well, Ben, you've accepted who you are, you're coming out, but you spend years condemning the gay community. There's no way you can show up on Facebook with a boo. You need to explain yourself. And that's when I came out on theroot.com with the same title, I'm Black, I'm minister, I'm gay. And people would ask me, well, how can you be a minister and gay? I didn't have an answer. And it took me 4 years to write the book I have now, which gives an answer to that question. And I know that was long story short, but it's even longer than that. I've condensed it. And this just was not an overnight decision.
I love it. That was it was right, 100%. I totally get that. So once it was released, of course, the book is out now. Everybody can purchase it. How has it been received?
It has been, it's a controversial book. And I really had to take the time to understand, Ben, this is not going to be a feel-good welcome message in all these communities. And you are literally standing up against the status quo. You are standing up against thousands of years of theology. You are standing up against people's bread and butter. If you start exposing the things of ministry, you could be ruining people's, income essentially. And so in my LGBTQ spaces, it is welcomed. In a lot of other spaces, it takes some time to massage the message and get through to people's hearts and get them to understand the core of understanding. My book essentially is helping you to understand why you believe what you believe. And that's essentially the
And
core
I
of the
guess
book.
And I guess my to further that, because you talked about it is controversial, but have you found yourself getting tired of preaching to the choir? Like talking to people that already know everything in your book, they've experienced that. But how do you take it and cross it over to unlearn some of the behaviors that people have when it comes to understanding about human sexuality?
I never get tired of talking. And before the book came out, was talking to some other authors, and they were like, "You're going to get tired of talking because you're going to be given the same message over and over again." But
Right.
the uniqueness about this is that it is still ministry for me.
Okay.
And I am still heavily, I don't think this relationship will ever break, heavily connected to the spirit. And so when I'm talking to either crowds or individuals, I'm tapping into the moment. What message needs to be said in this moment, right? To someone who's experienced this, to someone who's out, to someone who doesn't even know what religion is all about.
Right.
I have to be able to give answers, the Bible says, when people ask questions. And so I don't get tired of it. I actually love seeing the light bulb go off in people's heads because they think I'm coming in one way and I come in another. And the way that I show up is non-combative. I'm asking you very simple questions, and I'm trying to help you to understand why you believe what you believe, who sourced it, where did it come from. And now that you know better, are you still going to believe what you believe? And I love taking people on that journey. It thrills me. I should have been either a therapist or a professor, but it didn't happen.
Well, it did. You are providing therapy. You are providing therapy, and talking about that. Why do you believe what you believe? There's a section in your book that talks about whitewashing Christianity. And I, that's my dissertation. And I love how you basically go to the root of the tree, because everybody's picking at this fruit, but they're not going to the root of why they believe what they believe. So if you can, let's expound upon whitewashing Christianity and what that means to you.
Well, let's go beyond what that means to me and just get to the very definition of it.
I was trying to be, cute about it.
No, I literally just had a conversation right before this about this, where we can either show up in our opinion or show up in fact. And most times I just show up in fact. It sounds like my opinion because most people are unlearned, unread, and haven't done the critical study that needs to be done to understand who we are as a people, right? I say I have to have a discussion with the church about white supremacy before I can have a discussion with the church about LGBTQ. Because if we don't understand the source of Black church in America and how we all started, then we're lost.
Right.
And so first of all, let me just say this statement. Now, some people may clutch their pearls, grab their earrings, whatever. There are almost, and I'm saying almost because I don't 100% know, but other people say they 100% know. There's almost no white people in the Bible.
Wait, what? What do you mean? I don't understand.
There's almost no white people in the Bible.
So there's no Caucasoid in the Bible?
Not at all. Not at all. When you do biblical history, when you study the land and who lived in the land, when you study who the real Hebrew children of Israel were, I mean, this is fact. This is observable fact. It is not, you go in a library and pick it up and read it.
This ain't Carltonology.
this ain't Carltonology. And which makes me really mad because I want to like shake some people like, you mean to tell me all this time? What were you doing in this pulpit?
Right.
You know, preaching the shoulda, coulda, woulda messages, and you should have been telling us the truth. And so, you know, whiteness, white supremacy has dominated and really disrupted African spirituality, indigenous spirituality around the world, especially during the Great Atlantic Slave Trade. The Pope released a doctrine of discovery and said, if you come across any, I'm paraphrasing, if you come across any civilization that doesn't worship God in the way we do, you have the right to do whatever you want to them. And they took that doctrine of discovery and traveled the world and tore us up. In Africa, in South America, in Central America, in India, in Australia, just destroyed indigenous love, indigenous practices, indigenous spirituality. And I heard one reverend say it was harmful or terroristic missionary work. Terroristic missionary work. They went in the name of God and terrorized communities all around the world. And in these indigenous communities, they honored and respected queerness. They honored and respected polyamory. They honored and respected two-spirited people. You know, 1 in 1,000 people born on this earth are born both male and female. In these indigenous communities, they respected that. They honored that. Whiteness came in and disrupted it all and said, this is the way that you'll love each other, one man, one woman. Anything outside of this is perverted. You're going to worship this white God. His name is Jesus. And anything outside of this is demonic and not of God. And that's why Black church and white church is still even different, because we've infused our African spirituality in white theology.
Right.
We were forced as slaves to go to church and worship God in the way they wanted us. And there were actually 3 different services going on. There was the white service, Black slaves sat in the back. Then they started giving us our own service, but they would observe. But then we would have a good old shouting Holy Ghost time in the woods.
Right.
Away
out in
from
the
that
harbors. We go out in the hush harbors.
Come on, official terminology.
Come on here. Go out in the hush harbors in the field. And we would go there and we would do it. We would infuse our traditional African spirituality with the white Christian understanding. That's when the shouting came. That's the drummings, and that's all the call and response. All of that is an infusion, you know, because just I'm gonna let you do it. Ben, we got to go to commercial real quick. You know, I'm looking at the folks in the comments. If y'all are loving this so far, like the comment section up. I'm gonna come back. We're gonna do part 2 of this and talk more about this book. And we right, we are back for the second part. I'm sorry for the computer glitches, y'all. I really do apologize. Hey, I'm gonna try to get it better for next week. I'm gonna do what I gotta do to upgrade my internet on my end because I keep getting blamed for it behind the scenes. So the case may be. But if you're just not tuning in, we have Benjamin Carlton, who is the author of I'm Black, I'm Gay, and I'm a Minister. What? He is all things to all people, to the same God that we all know and love. And before break, we talked about whitewashing Christianity. But I ain't gonna stay there long because we only got like 15 minutes left. And I want y'all to read this book. But Ben, you also talk about sex shaming in the Black church. You know, is the Black church, so the Black church clearly is not progressive or as progressive as they profess to be. So what do you mean when you talk about sex shaming?
So much of that is a part of human behavior, adopted toxic masculinity that really, prioritizes men at the top and everybody else at the bottom. And so, outside of even the LGBTQ space, and this is my personal experience growing up in church, but it's also reflected in the Bible. If unmarried young people, were pregnant, they will sit down the woman, but nothing happens to the man.
Right.
Women are taught, purity and abstinence, but nobody is training people for the real world. Sex is a part of our natural human desire, but yet no one wants to talk about it. We shame it. And so what is shamed generally becomes people's curiosity, and people are exploring unlearned. Mm-hmm. And I'll even take it to in the 80s and 90s when the AIDS epidemic was on the rise and the Catholic Church was condemning the use of condoms.
Right.
And so all of this shaming about one of the greatest gifts God has given to mankind has to stop. There has to be an openness about it. There has to be conversation and dialogue about it. And there has to be a willingness to be able to explore those uneasy conversations. We want to sex shame, but so many people are born out of wedlock. And it's like, well, how do you think you got here? Osmosis.
And I like how you're not making it exclusive to same gender love. You're talking about sex as a whole. We don't talk about sex in the Black church. We've made it so taboo. Well, you're right. Anyone that gets any kind of inkling below the waist feels they're going to go to hell if they explore that. But how do we have healthy conversations about sex in our faith institutions?
Well, one, we acknowledge the gift that God has given mankind to be able to create. So there's a couple ways that this gift manifests. To be able to create another human being with another human being is one of the greatest gifts God could have ever given us. To be able to express our love and compassion for another human being through this act is another great gift God gave us. And to be able to just have fun and experience pleasure is another great gift God has given us. And so exploring those things from the place of it being an asset and not a deficit, you doing the nasty, you wrong, making people feel bad for doing what is natural to us, right? For doing what God gave us, that has to be the first step. Take sex from being a deficit to an asset. Take sex from being a curse to a blessing. Like, you shouldn't feel cursed for having sex or the desire to have sex, which is natural to who we are. Even couples who are married still feel they got to have sex in secret and, be ashamed to display their love in open because it is so ashamed. So removing the stigma about sex is the first step. Then having and hosting healthy conversations of what it means to be sexually active in a very, very healthy and spiritual way. What does it mean to be spiritually connected to people? What does it mean, to have sex with another human being? I think the more we open it up and are free to have conversations, the better off that people will be. But the stigma absolutely has to be removed.
And you also talk about the importance of forgiving yourself. And I think that's paramount, because a lot of people who who really have explored their sexual identity or stepped outside the box of a biblical understanding about sex, they live in regret. They live in guilt. They live in shame. They live feeling like they're unworthy, or they're not going to have access to God because they have these desires, or they have engaged in things outside of missionary one time for the sake of getting pregnant. So forgiving yourself, and you unpack that. Now, when did you do that personally?
So I wish I would have gone to therapy before I came out to help me deal with what I was about to unlock and unleash. I came out in 2014 to close family and friends, and then came out to the world in 2015, but I was not prepared for the backlash, and nor was I prepared to face the monster that I used to be. I used to be very, very judgmental. Lived a very, very reckless life. And so I had to, when I started writing the book and it became very therapeutic to tell these stories, it started to expose who I really was. Because, we will tell ourselves in our self-righteous mentality that we're right and everybody else is wrong. And our actions, breed grace when everybody else's actions doesn't. And so when I began to realize who I was and how I showed up in the world, it hurt. And so I had to practice forgiving myself. I had to practice unlearning the behaviors and patterns that contributed to the way I was living. And then, just as God forgives and moves on, I had to move on. Right. But that took some time to understand.
I love how you said just how God forgives and moves on, and we'll stay right there in that spot. We'll lock ourselves in that spot. And God is like, what are you talking about? I forgave you. I forgot about it. And you're still holding on to it. I don't understand. And then that also goes into when you talk about, being delivered from the opinions of others, and building your own relationship with God. It's like getting to know God for yourself, because the God of our ancestors, the stuff they were talking to God about or praying to God for is kind of shifted over time, so we need to get to know God for ourselves, because we're not out, in 2,000-degree weather, picking cotton, yada, 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 pleading for deliverance from the cotton fields. We need deliverance from other situations still going on in America. But I think that I have a whole doctorate. We must learn God for ourselves.
Well, the shoulda, coulda, woulda preaching, I think is outdated. Jesus was an advocate. Jesus was an ally for the least of these, and Jesus petitioned those with power to have compassion on all. And if there's a ministry who is not engaged locally in your local community, if there's a ministry who is not engaged in the well-being of its parishioners and people who attend the ministries, then you're operating outside the purpose and intent of the ministry. And we need to speak about getting people's lives in order, getting people's credit in order, getting people, human beings will so focus on the outside and ignore the inside. The principles and tenets of love talk about everything going on the inside. Right. The fruits of the spirit talk about everything going on the inside, but yet you worried about who I love, what I got on, where I'm going, where I'm dancing, what I'm drinking, which is none of your business.
And most Absolutely of it is an assumption. You're assuming because I'm gay, I'm sexually active. And then I'm out there just going through everybody just because I'm gay. That ain't gonna do with it. Me being gay is all about my attraction, but the God I serve looks at the heart. What is my heart all about? How am I treating others?
Well, I heard a preacher say that none of the fruits of the spirit say anything about being heterosexual.
And that's
not
the
one fruit of the spirit. Now you would think fruity, play on those words. But
right. But none of the qualifiers are you must be heterosexual. That's not a qualifier.
Not one.
Not now.
They asked Jesus, what is the greatest command? Jesus said, love God with all your heart, mind, and soul, and love your neighbor as you love yourself. And people forget this part. And you can hang every other law on those two things.
Period.
And I learned that from a mentor. He said, Ben, if you love God and you love people, you'll be all right. He said, don't worry about anything else. Don't worry about doing this and thus saith thou, because man made that up. White man made that up. When you study the history of Romans and who had control of the Bible, and the Council of Nicaea and the Council of this, who chose what went in the Bible and what Jesus was. None of that include any of the black and brown people of the world. There's no way that you're trying to tell me this captures the totality of what the world is, but did not include the world. And left out spiritual practice from all over the world. And these white men, and I know it sounds harsh saying it, but it's truth and fact, these white men who came together and said, this is the Bible, these are the books we're putting in, Jesus was the Son of God, wasn't a prophet, all these things. And I believe in Jesus Christ. I serve and love the Lord. But people say we wouldn't have known him prior to, the Atlantic slave trade and coming to America. We did. When the folks got to Ethiopia and tried that same mess, they said, oh, no, we know Jesus already. We don't need you. Goodbye. And they were not able to conquer and take over Ethiopia because they already had Jesus Christ, and it would have been against the doctrine of discovery. And so we had a form of God in a deeper capacity because African spirituality encompasses everything. God is a part of everything. The universe, the leaves, the stars, the wind, the ocean, the things that God talks about in the Bible. But yet this European way of religion says Sunday church, and that's all you need to worry about God.
See, so I have a book. I love my books. I got another book. Where's that book at? Here you go. So we got this one. This one is pro-black, pro-Christ, pro-cross. Just talking about just the African descendant evangelical identity. Because we have a lot of folks that think because we are black, we're descendants of Africa, that everything about Christianity only started in America. And I love how you started that and how you broke that down right there. And I think it's so much. Where's my other one? It was another one. Hold on. Africans who wrote the Bible. The Africans who wrote the Bible.
Now I need to get that book.
So you got this, the Africans who wrote the Bible. And this is basically piggybacking on what you just said about how the Bible was just unpacked and dissected and made to suit a certain class of individuals, and that's not really the true intention. So I love that. But there's a question in the comments. Dana asked, why do you think that gay men are targeted more than lesbian women in the church? And I mean, and that's a fair assumption because lesbians, y'all kind of get a little pass. Y'all slip under the radar in the black church.
Not only do they slip under the radar, they're not even mentioned in the Bible. There was one scripture that says women should not lie with women as they lie with men. But other than that, it's because being an effeminate man was a target. And so a lot of the scriptures are even referring to effeminate men who were soft, men who were feminine. And so, you could, during those times, be at war and be the strongest, mightiest man. And because women could not go to war, they would send younger men to go sleep with the older men. Nothing was wrong with that. But don't let any of those men be effeminate. Now it's a problem. And so there's always a tier in any human dynamic. There's always either a natural order of a tier or it's systematic. And so there's always we'll pick on the least of these, which are in our space, effeminate men. And then even in the black space, transgender black people are, even in the gay space, transgender people are seen as the least of these and treated the worst and given the least resources. And so it's all a matter of understanding human behavior. And
I think, and we haven't even tiptoed into the transgender realm, when it comes to understanding and biblically and all that kind of, we haven't even began to unpack that because we're still trying to get people to understand, love, appreciate, affirm, and accept, gays and lesbians, trying to get them there. Then we got to go to transgender. It's so unfortunate. And you also talk about why sexuality is so important, and you really broke that down lovingly, earlier talking about it's natural. No matter how you feel or which direction you go, it's natural. And folks are saying we should do a part 2. Look, y'all, it was hard enough to get Ben for part 1. This brother is booked. I reached out in October of 2021. Brother man is booked. I would love to do a part 2, but I gotta get him. I'll try to get him back on before this year is out. We'll see how that works. But this is really healthy, empowering, and enriching dialogue. And I know I said we preaching to the choir a lot of times, but I do think it's folks sitting back in the corner that want to be allies but don't know how. Because on the flip side, we sometimes the LGBT community also doesn't create a safe space for heterosexuals to come in and learn. And we gotta do that part as well.
Years and years of trauma, right? Of being beat down, of being talked about. I preach giving people the space to be ignorant. Ask me any question you want, and I'll sit down and answer. Long as it's, don't start asking me who's the boy and who's the girl and all those type of silly questions. But the first step in being an ally is becoming informed about the people that you want to be an ally with. And the one thing I get mad about, and I've gotten mad and I've gotten over it, was that people acted like being gay was new. And it was a new something. It was a new, and now that I'm older, I know this stuff, I'm like, y'all had gay friends. You went to school with gay people. Why did you treat me as if being gay was new and it was something profound? People been gay. Not only that, 1 in 1,000 people, which means millions and millions of people all over the world, are born both male and female. And you're acting like male and female is all there is, when scientifically, there are humans out there that are both male and female from a definition perspective, scientifically, from anatomy.
Facts.
And I hate people treating this as if it's something brand new. I just want us to get over this hump and normalize that we are more than male and female, and we are more than just being heterosexual and straight.
Right. Because the diversity of it all is so beautiful. Once people really get into it and begin to understand, it's really beautiful. Like you said, everybody got a gay friend. They probably don't know their friend is gay. Everybody, all of y'all watching, I don't care how straight you are and how straight you think your circle is, everybody got a gay friend. Everybody know that one person that ain't telling you all their business. Trust me on that.
I went to Fiji right before the pandemic hit. And there was this guy in a full face of makeup. And I was like, where's the gay club? And he was like, the what? I'm like, the gay club. And I was like, I know you're not offended, sir. You having a full face of makeup. I mean, a beat down. And he was like, what is that? And I explained what it was. He said, we don't need that here. In Fiji, they honor everybody.
Wow.
He was like, you want to go to the club? I was like, yeah. I went to the club. Men were dancing with men. Women were dancing with women. Those same people would dance with each other. Men with men, older with young. I mean, everybody was just blissfully happy. Because me and my sister we driving around, was like, was he whistling at you or me? And we were so confused and didn't know. But that's because they don't care about any of this.
Right.
They are on an island. They know they only got themselves, and they honor and respect everybody. Colonialism and the great Atlantic slave trade destroyed that type of love that was in Africa, in South America, in Australia, in Mexico. Look it up, people. It's right in your history books. Whiteness came in and destroyed it all.
I love it. Ben, we got 1 minute left. This is your time to shine. Let folks know how they can get a copy of your book or anything else you want them to support from you. It's all about you, man.
Yes, you can follow me on the socials at Ben Carlton, and you can pick up my book and other books at www.blacklovewins.com. Blacklove.wins.com, because it really does. And I've wrote about so many other things I couldn't fit in the book. I have 10 signs he's living on the down low, breaking the chains of toxic religion, the birds and bees and those in between, how to talk to your children about LGBTQ issues, and so many other issues that is important. Again, if you want to be an ally, if you want to learn how to love yourself, if you want to learn how to love that queer loved one, get this book. It is so, so important for us to heal as a community, as a Black people, and get rid of the toxicity of the slave trade that destroyed our indigenous queer love and indigenous spiritual practices all around the world. So I'm excited for you to read it. I will sign it and send it to you. BlackLoveWins.com.
I love it. Sean Kinsey said he just bought it on Amazon. It'll be at his house on Friday. Awesome. And he wants a part 2 as well. Jonathan Davis is trying now to get a ticket to Fiji. Listen.
Yes, get that ticket, baby.
And just so y'all know, Ben is LA based. So if you ever see him walking down the street, he is highly approachable. He is not one of those standoff people that got this best-selling book and traveled the world. If you see this brother on the block, trust, he will talk to you. He'll give you dap. Please stay 6 feet though. We still in the pandemic. All right, listen. But no, Ben is a great guy. I mean, I consider him a brother. He's Johnny on the spot. You know, he just busy. He busy as all get out. But Ben, thank you for taking time to come on my show. I'm gonna have the producers reach out to you to get a part 2. If it's in the summer, that's fine. You know, we don't care. But I applaud you for just launching this because it is so necessary. It is so needed. And you talk with knowledge. You're not just talking about Black church trauma. You are like, look, we've all been through it. How do we get over it? Let's understand the root and move on because God has moved on. God's already on the next thing, you know, and
he wants to reveal the mysteries, and we still stuck on who you're sleeping with.
Right. God's like, okay, y'all need to get over all that. I'm way over here somewhere. So,
and I love the Black church, by the way. Don't get me wrong.
I do
love
too. Hey, I'm all about it. I'm Black church, born and bred and raised. I ain't going nowhere. But we got to get smarter so we can do better things in the Black community as a whole. So, Sean, I'm glad you got something out the show tonight, man. Bless you. Like I said, it's all about the quantity and not the quality. If 5 people were helped on tonight, I don't care if I don't have 5,000 viewers that didn't get nothing. Those 5 whose lives will change. That's what God is all about. So, Ben, thank you, man. I'll be reaching out to you. Be safe on your Stanford tour. You know,
I've actually canceled my tour date, so I might be available more sooner than later because
I'll see you next Tuesday.
I'm not getting COVID.
I'll see you next Tuesday. We'll toast with some wine or something.
Yeah.
All right, man. Have a good night, man.
All right, brother.
Hey, y'all. Thank you for watching the show on tonight. Hey, Anthony Brown. Hey, boy. Hey. Stole it from my boy Craig Stewart. Thank you for watching. Hey, y'all. Thank you for checking us out on tonight, for rocking with us. Thank you for just rolling with the show. Prayerfully, you got something on tonight. Listen, make sure to check out Ben Carlton's book, I'm Black, I'm a Minister, and I'm Gay. I'm Black, I'm a Minister, and I'm Gay. Support this brother. You know, support him. He's part of the village. I appreciate y'all. Remember, we're still in a pandemic. Don't get too cautious. Don't get too careful. Wear your mask. Wash your hands. Practice social distancing, but don't allow it to drive you crazy. All right, follow me on Instagram, Donta_Morrison. Also, make sure to follow me on YouTube, youtube.com/The Donta Show or Donta Morrison. Please subscribe, like, and do what you got to do. Like Dana always says, spread love. Instead of spreading lies, let's do what we got to do to make sure that we are all happy, healthy, and in a good place mentally. Village, I love you. I appreciate you. Thank you for rolling with your boy. You know, it's been a bumpy road. We've hit some hurdles, but we are still coasting down the street. Next week, I'll have better internet. I'll try to fix all these glitches. And with that being said, take care. Good night. I will see you next Monday. Be safe. Have a great rest of your week. God bless.